Colonel the Colonel, the Rolls Royce of our podcast, and of course, Neil, aka Patrick Isaacs. Today, we're going to talk about mental health and well being in men. Mr. Colonel,
Good evening, one and all. Nice to be with you again. Um, yes, this is quite a broad subject. Let me be very delicate with my words, and I'll try and be as clear and precise as I can be, so that for all those who are listening in can dissect every word and feel every word that I'm about to say and demonstrate. This subject is such a broad thing. Let me first start by saying because the word mental, just the word, that's that word alone itself, it's almost like a swear word to some people because they believe that by admitting to, first of all, themselves and for all those who are surrounding them, i.e., family and friends, they believe that it's something to be ashamed of. And let me first state that it is nothing whatsoever to be ashamed of. Because you are facing a subject or thing that you're unable to control or display or convey yourself in a way that you are heard, and because you don't have full control of it, people believe that it's a word that is nasty, and because of that stigma that was has been attached to it over many years and many decades, a lot of people who are going through some things in their life will take it personally and may not open up to the relevant bodies that can help them through this difficult period in their life.
okay, so let me um, speak on behalf of my experience of mental health.
Mm-hmm.
Now, growing up as a youngster, a juvenile,
Mm-hmm.
my knowledge of mental health
Mm-hmm.
was physical. If
Yeah.
you cannot see it, it's non-existent.
Okay.
And I'm in close contact with mental health. I'm in very close contact with mental health, but it was only a physical thing. Now moving fast forward and being an adult, and with more experience and vast more knowledge, I understand mental health. It's not only physical, right? It's something psychological which can have detrimental effect on you. And like you said, um, once you hear the word mental health or mental, people view it as negative.
Absolutely.
And that can happen to you genetically. It can be stored upon you forcefully. And there's just some things it can happen to you like a spur of the moment,
Absolutely.
naturally.
Absolutely.
And with vast experience, especially over the last couple of months, I've learned and understand so much how mental health can affect you. And mental health is what's the stats are? What mental health it especially in men,
Mm-hmm.
mental health unalive men like oftenly.
Yeah. Because this is quite a broad spectrum, this mental health, it's quite a broad spectrum across the board.
Yeah, you see, it doesn't have to be while it's broad. It's a broad spectrum, but every bit of mental health affect each individual
Of course, of course. Well,
differently.
yeah. What else? See, the reason why I said the broad spectrum because this can go. If we break it down, this can go right back to your childhood.
Hmm.
Right? Um, Maybe you were mentally or physically abused.
Hmm.
Maybe you were mentally or physically told aspects of your life which was somebody else's opinion. In
Hmm.
other words, maybe a mother, a father, a sister, a brother, a aunt, a uncle said to you as an individual, you'll never amount to anything.
Yes,
Or
we hear that very
yeah,
often. In
or
schools, the teacher said that to
or
you.
you're no good,
Hmm.
or you'll never be that person,
Yes,
that man, that individual in which you aspire to be.
yes, you're
Um,
useless.
and there are many aspects and many nuances that can be said along as a young man growing up. So these things, if not dealt with at the time, can affect you and affect your mental health. Yeah,
It stays with you until adolescence.
yeah, and what it is now, there are many men that are walking around in adult bodies that this has affected because they had nobody to talk to about it, and the way they have felt whilst growing up, it has had an effect on them, right? That it has maybe destroyed their confidence, maybe it's destroyed their outlook on life, maybe it's destroyed
Relationship,
maybe relation is
work
yeah
development, personal development,
it's had
self achievement. Yeah.
it's had it's had a knock-on effect on lots of different areas within the male species. However, the main thing is this: there is help that one can
No,
get.
this is very important, and
Yeah,
I would allow you to.
yeah. There is help out there if you make that decision that
You see, that's it.
I
It's the recognize. You see,
I have a problem, I need help, I am calling out for anybody to help me go to the next level
take
where
note. Take note.
I can now sit with somebody and pour out what's inside out.
So I've got something to add to that. Yes. So that's one spectrum of
Mm-hmm.
the mental health
Mm-hmm.
where you or the individual
Okay.
can identify that I've got a problem. Now there's a next side to that. How about the person who cannot identify that they're having the problem?
Well, if for somebody who's
They would they would this is where they would need a environment where someone
well, it, well,
is knowledgeable or close.
close enough to well, see, if they're in an environment and somebody's able to be skillful enough or talented enough to
Family. No, it could be a family
yeah.
because
Well, even if it is right, if they're unable to convey, because through no fault of their own, that there is an issue, if you're able to use your words correctly and skillfully, you can say to the person that it might be an idea, it may be an idea to maybe um, speak to a counselor
this is
and just nudge them in that direction that and I will support you by going with you if need be
this
and then that's the first step of trying to unravel the process or the problem or whatever it is that you feel may be affecting that individual.
This is personal experience. Close. This person is not someone that you could reason with and says you've got a problem. For example, it's like trying to tell an intoxicated man that you're intoxicated, or trying to tell a drunk man that you're drunk. Doesn't make sense, right? So now with that person, yes, it's okay if they've got a social group or they've got peers or family or relative. Yes, to identify that and take charge of the situation. Yes, but how do we go about someone who is a lonely person and been affected by mental health, spur of the moment, you know, what help, how would you?
Well, first of all, we have to try and identify to the individual that there's an issue, and how you can identify.
But remember, this person is non.
If we hang on there, if we if we are willing to use a few chosen words, right, and sometimes we may have to take ownership on their behalf.
That's it. That's the point where I was getting to, because there is no chosen words. Like I'll use the example again. This man, have you ever been around a drunk man, an intoxicated drunk man?
Yes,
where whatever you're saying to him
doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make any sense. Well, so reasoning is out.
Reasoning becomes non-existent. It becomes non-existent. So if reason becomes non-existent to that individual or individuals, right? May I add? We have to then approach it from a different angle, and sometimes we may have to, not in all cases, but sometimes we may have to take ownership for that individual, and then when we get to the point, right, where they may have a little bit of an understanding, we can hand that ownership back to them. Does that make sense?
That would have to be
because
again, experience. This is all I'm speaking to you from is pure experience.
Yeah, because remember, with this delicate subject of mental health, remember it's a process, and that process can take weeks, months, and in some cases even years. So I think we need to approach it from a delicate aspect, right? In terms of sometimes taking ownership for the individual.
Have you ever got your mental health affected? It
doesn't
have to be any major thing.
I don't.
I have.
I have. I can't recall per se for myself as an individual.
I'll give you one example. Yes, and I did a podcast on it recently.
Okay.
Yeah, and what it was is any man that never been broken. Yes, it's not a man of experience. Why? One, he's privileged and he's protected. And that man who's never been broken, he's in no place to give you an advice on your experience. No place to advise you on that experience that you have. Well, and I believe some of the most successful men around is a man who has been broken and start again. Why? Because he's not starting from afresh. He's starting with a vast experience. Whatever the experience is, relationship, personal development, trying to entrepreneur.
Yeah, there are many nuances. There are many nuances surrounding the mental health, and as a man, becoming a gentleman, or should I say, a young person becoming, a man to become, a gentleman. So there are many nuances around this. I think first of all, you know, if the individual's unable to identify that they have a problem, then sometimes we as individuals that are maybe close to them or in close proximity to them, we may have to take ownership for them.
Yes,
And
100%. I agree.
and walk with them and talk with them until you believe that they are at a point where you can then hand
But
over,
when you say walk with them,
walk with them and talk with them, and get to the point where you feel you can hand over that ownership to them, and they can receive it gracefully, right, and continue walking with them. But rather than you holding the ownership, they're being able to hold the ownership for
but
themselves.
before I agree with taking ownership. But if you're not trained in the capacity, yes, to get these people or this person or this family member to that safe space where you can reason with them, should we not try and get them the right professional help they need first, and then get them to the point where we can.
To try and get them the professional help in which you speak about, can be very difficult, number one, and number two, it can be very tricky.
How?
Because some people feel offended, or they feel like you're putting them away.
Okay.
You feel like you're putting them away if you then mention in them getting professional help.
That is a good point.
Yeah.
Very good point.
So what you got to do, we got to approach this situation with what they call kids gloves. Yeah. Right. Because when you're putting it on, you got to be delicately using your right words, delicately, right, putting what they call recommendations, right, of what could possibly start them on their journey.
Okay, so are we talking about one spectrum? Are we talking about two spectrum? Are we coming from one side of the fact that this person, they are still able to communicate and have a bit of understanding where they would or would not be offended, and we're talking about the other side of the spectrum where this person is lack the ability to reason and understand, where we just take this one, we take ownership, take this one to the place where they can get professional medical help, get them to the place where we can actually speak with them and give them back ownership. And there's the other spectrum where these people, they can communicate, but there is a little blockage going on there where, okay, we have to approach this one with kids gloves just in case they feel offended of advising them to.
Well, they're
Olipoli, come.
It's quite it's quite difficult. It's not difficult. Let me try and summarize this a little bit. My summarization would be that for those who are at a place where they're unable to see or cooperate or believe that they are not able to convey themselves about the issue they may be currently facing, we sometimes have to be the counselor for them. And sometimes we have to be that support for them. And it's on a case by case basis where we have to gently nudge them from the first step, the second step, all the way through until they're comfortable to speak to somebody else other than you.
Okay.
And,
So,
and that is a process. But remember, along the journey, for them to be able to speak with you and then feel comfortable about speaking to anybody outside of you, we then have to add in what they call trust.
so here we go. Wise words of Cornell Rose Rice of our podcast, and wise words and our topic on mental health and well-being. And like I says, there is any man who's never been broken is never a man with experience, and is not qualified to
Absolutely.
make a judgment on your experience.
Absolutely. And you know, I think that I have a very old method. I have a motto, and my motto is this: each one teach one, each one help one.
My own.
Yeah,
Stand up, stand out, shine bright. Be the fragrance of our environment, and let not our environment be the fragrance of us. We wear the garments of our environments. The
absolutely.
garments of our environment doesn't wear us. We are the brand NNC, Neil and Cornell. Positive mental.
So attitude.
Thank you.
Until we meet again, please share, subscribe, and we'll
Like.
see you and we'll see you in the next.
Ta-da.